Welcome back to the Practically Blind workshop. Today I thought I would give doing a voiceover a go. Today I'm going to be making a couple of Christmas presents for people, but you could easily batch these out and sell them, I think. So I've got some pressure treated 1x6 because these are outdoor projects. I've not measured anything in this project. It's all done by what I think are the right proportions, and I started by cutting a 15-degree angle on one end of the board, moving it to where I thought it looked right, and then cutting it there. Once I had cut 4 pieces at the same dimensions, I used one of them pieces on the table saw to set the angle to cut the bottoms of the boxes, which you'll see me doing in a second. Now that I've cut 2 pieces for the bottom of the boxes, I'm going to cut the front and back of the boxes, and what I decided to do with one of them is use the offcuts and make one smaller one and one slightly bigger one, just to save wood. Using one of my side pieces, I can get the angle doesn't have to be perfect. Trim these to a 15-degree angle. Okay, so now we've got our sides and our bottom cut to size. I'm just going to use the same 15-degree angle on the table saw to cut one end, and then offer it up, then mark the other end. What I've decided to do is, rather than, I'm going to use the offcuts from the other one, which means the sides on this one will be. So what I had to do is cut the sides down on one of them to match the ends. As the front. Right, so I've got them cut down. Now what I'm going to do is assemble these two parts and then we'll move on to the next step afterwards. So what I've done off camera, next what I did is I assembled the two boxes. I did one off camera just to check that it would all go together okay, and now I'm doing the smaller of the two. I'm just using exterior grade wood glue and brad nails. You'll see I'll have a blowout in a second, which I have to sort out. Next thing I do is I cut another piece of the 1x6 to the length that I want the handles to stick out by, and then I cut it into strips at the table saw to get 4 pieces out of one bit of 1x6. Now I'm going to cut that to start with. Once I've cut them strips on the table saw, I'll take them over to the belt sander and I'll give one end on each of them a small round over. So now I'm just placing the strips on the sides of the boxes, and I'm just using an offcut as a spacer, just so that they're all equally from equal from the top and the bottom, and they're all at the same angle. And again, I'll just glue and brad nail it on. And then once they're all cut and ready to go, I drill holes in the end of all 4, which will receive a dowel, and then that will go through both brackets and the wheel in the middle. You'll see what I mean in a minute. In case you haven't guessed by now, they're little wheelbarrow planters, but you could actually give them all a really good sand down and paint them and use them as kids' toys in the garden. You could change the dimensions, you could pretty much do whatever you wanted with it. after that my phone died, so it missed me filming cutting the wheels out using a 4-inch hole saw, which you don't have to use if you haven't got one. You could cut some wheels out using a jigsaw or a coping saw. It would just take a bit longer. And then I open up the central hole that the hole saw left, wide enough to take the dowel rods, and then what you do is you sandwich the wheel between the two rails, and then after that I drill some pilot holes and countersinks ready to fix them to the bottom of the wheelbarrows. And then what I'm doing is just checking everything's all central and looking good. Again, I'm not measuring anything. Tell a lie, I think I used a combination square just to double check the spacings. Once the wheel brackets and wheels are mounted, I cut 4 short pieces of the same strips that we used earlier to make some legs for the wheelbarrow, and again rounded one end over on all of them, and then pilot hole, countersink, glued and screwed them to the end of the wheel brackets, and that is them both done. I think they look quite smart. And just a quick announcement, I will be creating a Ko-fi page and a Patreon page, so if you would like to help me carry on making stuff, I'd greatly appreciate it. And also if you could like, share and subscribe. The like, share and subscribe is totally free and it really helps the channel grow. Thanks again. See you next time.